Hi everyone, this is Heather Lottinen from the Flourish Academy. This is episode 566. We had a question posed recently in the FA community group on Facebook. It's our free group. If you're not there, make sure you join us. The link is below. My friend Crystal asked the following. She said, I need some advice and opinions. My husband and I have worked very hard to make our property the perfect flower haven and photographer's dream. My flower field is getting to be pretty extraordinary with all the different cycles of blooms, perfect sunset lighting, etc. Here's the question. I would love to rent my flowers / property out to people for shoots. I see photographers looking all the time when I'm rolling around in the flowers. I'm not super busy since my goal is to work hard on the land to establish my plants and then go all out when my last is in preschool. So Crystal has young children. She asks, would you rent your property? And then she tagged me and she said, I know you do this. What are your thoughts? And I definitely have a lot of thoughts on this. So a couple of things. I do rent the property to photographers for a small fee. I also host Camera Club on my property, which at any given time could be 10 photographers, upwards of 40 or 50 photographers on my property. So there are a lot of various things that you need to consider. Number one, are you concerned about liability or insurance? If someone brings their client to your property and that client gets hurt, who's on the hook for that? So are you going to require that other photographers have liability insurance that is current and up to date? Don't just take their word for it. I know that there are venues in my area that require proof of insurance. They will look at it. They will make sure it is up to date, or you will not be permitted to enter their premises. So it can be very serious, because if that photographer does not have insurance and their client gets hurt, it will be on your insurance. Now, if you have business insurance, it would cover that. But if you don't have business insurance, then it would be your homeowner's insurance. And I don't want to play that game. So if you have property and you don't have business insurance, personally, I would never take that risk. So I would make sure, A, I have business insurance. And then the decision is, do I require that other photographers have that insurance? Now, I'm going to be honest. I've had a lot of photographers rent the property. I've never checked, I've never asked, and I'm fairly certain that most of them don't have insurance. I guess I'm weighing the risks, and the chance of something happening is really, really very low, understanding that it could, and if it does, my business insurance would cover it. How do I know this? I've had extensive conversations with my insurance agent. She has also been a guest speaker inside of the Flourish Academy membership and inside of our Elevate program for photographers who want to grow their businesses. We have talked to her about many different scenarios, such as client trips, breaks their ankle. What insurance covers that? Well, that would be your business insurance. Client gets stung by a bee, has a very serious reaction, ends up in the hospital, can't work for a couple of weeks. It would be your insurance. So there needs to be liability coverage on your business insurance. Whether or not you require that photographer to have it is totally up to you. So that's the first thing. You just have to make a decision around that. You could also decide that you're only going to allow a few select number of photographers that you know, that you have a relationship with, because when you start allowing people you don't know on your property, that's when the risk increases. Also, how do you feel about people destroying your property? Because it is going to happen. I would recommend having some type of terms and conditions or a contract that they sign when they schedule your property about destruction. And if something gets broken or destroyed, who fixes it, in what time frame, what does that look like? Photographers are notorious for ruining flower fields. There's a venue near me that has these amazing fields of flowers. They used to allow photographers to come and take photos because it was just like a few people that knew about it. Well, it got really popular. Photographers can be jerks, and they destroyed the property. So the venue started requiring a payment. It was nominal. It wasn't, I don't know, maybe $50 or something. So photographers paid that, still destroyed the property. So now the venue requires a permit, and they will only permit specific photographers that they know and have relationships with, because they were tired of people ruining their fields. Now, in terms of the photographers that I have on my property, usually when it's a photographer and their client, it's pretty straightforward and simple. When I have Camera Club here and there are dozens of photographers, there's always a mess that I'm cleaning up. Now, I don't think anybody goes around and destroys anything on purpose. I don't believe there's ill intent, but somebody opens their car and all the French fries fall out on the ground. Somebody has their camera bag out in the woods and trash falls out. I am always picking up trash after Camera Club. Again, I don't think anybody's like walking around littering on purpose, but it absolutely causes a mess. People have driven through our flowers. They have driven through our yard. They have run over our chickens. Yes, we had a chicken that lost his life. His name was Frank because a photographer ran over him. Okay, bummer. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, serious bummer. It was totally an accident. But things like that are going to happen. I've had photographers leave some of their props in my woods. I have found them like days later, like a crate over here or this like setup over there. I find it strange that people would leave their things and forget about them, but I still have things in my garage from people who need to come pick them up. So what is your tolerance level for people? And are you willing to watch your flowers that you worked so hard on be trampled and ruined because people are inconsiderate and aren't paying attention? I have friends that have rented out their studios that have actually stopped doing it because photographers have destroyed things. They've used things that they were not supposed to be using in terms of equipment and lighting, things that were behind closed doors, and then making an incredible mess and not cleaning it up. So that's going to happen. Now you have to ask yourself, what's my goal here? Is the goal to rent the property to make money? If that is the goal, it's probably not going to happen like you imagine, because how much can you really charge for photographers to use it, and how often are you going to rent it? So it's not a tremendous money maker. Are you doing it because you want to share the property so people have a great place to shoot? So it's part of like a community outreach or involvement. That's my goal. So I understand that there are consequences associated with that goal. I'm going to be cleaning up the property. Things are going to be destroyed, but we created it to share with other photographers. So if I make a couple of dollars on the side, you know what my thoughts were? And maybe this is what you're thinking. You spend a lot of money on flowers and things to care for your flowers. If you want to do this because of community outreach, working with photographers, and you'll use the money to buy the things you need to take care of your flowers because it's very expensive, okay, I can get behind that. There's like a reason there. But there's just several things that you're going to need to consider. And what I would recommend, first of all, is starting really small with a couple of people that you know, like, and trust. Invite them onto the property, have them shoot, test it out, charge a little bit of money, see how it goes. If you're feeling good about it, then maybe extend that invitation to more photographers in your area. And just take it little by little to see the challenges you face. I would definitely recommend they sign a terms and conditions, or at least a checkbox, like I've read the terms and conditions, I'm not going to destroy the property. If I do, I'm going to fix it. If my client gets hurt, I'm not going to sue you. Now, let me say this about that. I still would recommend you have insurance and the other photographer have insurance. But I would also put in the contract and terms and conditions that you are not liable should they get hurt or their client get hurt. It's just another layer of protection should something go sideways. So obviously when you're renting out your property, it's your personal, like I invite these photographers to my home. I have my family here. It's very serious, and it's not something that I've taken lightly, but I like to invite people in. I like to give them opportunities. You know, with Camera Club, we have a variety of different genres that we shoot. I believe in intentional inclusion, you know, inviting people into circumstances they wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to maybe shoot. So that's part of my goal, which means I'm willing to take somewhat of a risk, understanding I do have business insurance. I have had a few people injured on the property. One person was hit in the head, and another person, well, they got a tick. Okay, well, you know, when you enter the woods, there's also an assumed risk and responsibility by the person, the adult, entering the woods. So I would recommend first that you call your insurance agent for your business and explain to them what you're up to and get their opinion, because you should not trust me for any of this. This is not legal advice. That's my disclaimer. This is not intended to substitute an insurance agent. This has just been my experience and my thoughts about the things that you should consider. Definitely contact your insurance agent. Get a feel for what they say. Talk, obviously, this is my friend Crystal that posted this. Talk with your spouse. Make sure that they're on board, because it does interrupt things occasionally. So it's a lot to consider. Let me know what you decide. And if you're watching this, let me know, have you rented a studio or your property to photographers? What has been your experience? I guess it varies. I hope that you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.